Hey guys, welcome back to another Gaming Memories video. Here we are taking a look at Crash Team Racing that was released on the PlayStation back in 1999, and it is the fourth installment of the Crash Bandicoot series on the actual PlayStation, the first PlayStation console, that was developed by Naughty Dog and published by Sony. So this game now is very different. It's more of a spin-off compared to the previous games in the series, where the other games are platformers. This is actually like a kind of like an IndyCar kind of cartoon, kind of party style racer. Straight away, it's very reminiscent and very reflective of if you've ever played or heard of the Mario Kart series on the likes of the Super Nintendo or the Nintendo 64 and other consoles. Mario Kart actually had gained so much popularity that it was the go-to kart racing game of the time period in the 90s, and it didn't really have any real direct competition. There has been loads of kart racing games that were developed over the years, some of them with mixed kind of elements and reviews, some of them good, some of them not so good, but Crash Team Racing is considered to be the best cartoon kart based racer on the PlayStation, but it's also considered to be one of the best kart racing games of all time, and it actually does compete with Mario Kart. It's in a lot of ways it's almost as good. It's probably the direct competitor to Mario Kart because it plays so similar. Especially if you've ever played Mario Kart 64, which would have been its main competitor at the time, because Mario Kart 64 was huge. So I remember my brother actually had an N64 and had some fantastic games on it, and Mario Kart 64 was one of them, and that game is actually brilliant. So the opportunity to be able to play a similar type of game on the PlayStation was definitely a big thing, and what better way than with the Crash Bandicoot series, because like Crash Bandicoot was considered like the official mascot primarily of Sony and the PlayStation at the time, so this was a good way to go. And this game is considered to be one of the best racing games period on the actual PlayStation, again because it's got so many unique elements. It is really fun to play, it handles really well, the graphics are fantastic, it just looks really good, still holds well even today, even to a point that it actually spawned a direct reboot or remake back about a year or two ago on modern consoles. So that'll tell you how popular this game actually is, and it shows that these type of games aren't going away anytime soon. Now, like I mentioned, like there is a lot of similar style games like this here that were released on PlayStation, even on modern consoles, but very few have ever really kind of reached the peak of success or playability that this game and the Mario Kart series actually offer. Apart from all the other kart racers that are on other consoles, this is the only game really out there that really directly compares to Mario Kart, that's probably equally as good, because it has very similar characteristics and play style. It's got great graphics, great playability, it's so much fun. This game you can actually play multiplayer with your mates, like even if you played any of the Mario Kart games on the other consoles apart from the Super Nintendo, which you can only play 2-player, you could play 4-player on the Nintendo 64, and I remember actually having an absolute blast at that with my brothers and my friends. And this here has this equivalent. If you had access to the multi-tap, you could actually play multiplayer with a load of people as well, and you would have an absolute blast. You could play like one-on-one death matches, there was versus, there was the arcade mode, there was like an adventure mode, and you could play where having everybody going through the campaigns and so forth, and actually the cups and that as well. So because that's the way we used to even play like the Mario Kart games back in the day. We'd always try to all get together doing like competitions and stuff and see who would actually win, and used to have a blast. Now I didn't play this game as much back in the day. I know my brothers actually had gotten a loan of it off some of their friends, and they had played it and they actually thought it was really good, but I didn't get to play it until really a few years later. And even going back to playing it now as I'm recording this video, I've forgotten how good this game actually is and how much fun it is. This game is actually definitely, I think it's definitely one of the people's choices and favourites when it comes to games on the PlayStation, because whenever they go to talk about games or mention any type of game, usually this game is usually on top of their list of top 10 games mostly. And you usually see it on other like channels and so forth, where like they have like say top 10 racing games or top 20 or top 30. This is always within the top 10 or 20 games on the PlayStation. So it is, and you can clearly see why, because it has all the perfect elements that you want from a really good game. Really fun play styles, very good levels, design, great graphics, and it's just out and out fun. It actually did get really good reviews on the likes of the game magazines, and it was praised because of the likes of its playability and the graphics and so forth at the time. So it definitely did do really well, but it sold loads of copies as well, and it's definitely one of the all-time greats on the PlayStation 1. And like I said, it is pretty much most people's favourite when it comes to playing games, especially racing games. So it definitely does add a unique element to it, and the fact is that you're actually getting to play, like we say, with Crash Bandicoot, but in a kart-based kind of format. The funny thing is, even with the likes of this here, and even when you see like Mario Kart, you've seen a lot of other like brands and stuff from even movies and even other games over the years going down a similar route. You've even seen the likes of Sonic the Hedgehog having their own kart-based race, or like with Team Sonic Racing, and other games like even on the PlayStation 3. I remember actually playing, like, even there was Shrek Kart or Dream Karts or something like that. I think one of my nephews actually had it, and it was just one of those things where just they take like a franchise that has a lot of popular characters, and they would actually kind of like make it like a kart-based type of game out of it. Now some of them actually played alright and some of them were fun, but some of them weren't so good and they could end up being a bit annoying. But the thing is, this game isn't that at all. This game, it does present a decent challenge. It is tough. It is somewhat difficult to win races to some degree, but that's the way these games actually operate. But regardless of that, this game is actually hilarious. You'll actually have a lot of fun with this game. This game, for me, is the closest thing to Mario Kart that I've actually ever played in a kart game, because it has all the feel and the aesthetics, and it just reminds you so much of that game. Because Mario Kart, I'll be honest, is actually, even though, like, say, my PlayStation is my favourite console of all time, but I will highly regard Mario Kart as being one of my favourite games of all time, because it's just the party element of it, when you used to play with your mates and the fun you used to have. And this game is very reflective of that. This game is as close to that as I can ever possibly imagine, even remember, because there's not too many kart-based games that have ever come close to that, and this definitely is as good as that, in my opinion. Like, because it just feels like it. It's like as if they reskinned Mario Kart but just put Crash Bandicoot on it instead, because it plays the same, if it just different levels and just different aesthetics, but it has all the same characteristics that made those games really, really good. And you can definitely see here that it is, because it's a fantastic title, so much fun. Again, graphics, it pretty much has it all there. And the thing about it is, this game isn't just for kids. Even grown-ups like myself can still have a laugh and have a blast with this with your mates. And the thing is, if I can guarantee you, like, if I was to say to my friends or whoever, like, say, you know, to play this here, they'd all jump on board, because they'd all know they'd be up for a laugh and they'd have a giggle with it, because you will have a lot of laughs with these games. But that's why they're so good, because they appeal to people of all ages. You'll always have a laugh. It doesn't have to be serious. It's just all out fun. And that's the way the games really should be. So this game here definitely is not just a hidden gem, but it's definitely an all-time classic, and you can see why, because it's a huge fan favourite amongst gamers, especially within the PlayStation 1 space, for sure. And even myself, you can definitely see why, because it definitely appeals pretty much to everybody. So it is, because like I said, it's just fun. You really will have a laugh. It really is, you know, incredibly good fun. And it's even more fun when you're playing with your mates and that as well. When you get a few people together, you definitely will have a ball. Because I remember that was actually my best experiences with these type of games, is that when you were playing it with your friends or your mates or whatever, like, or your family members, they're definitely the best times to play these type of games, because you will have just an incredible fun and just so many laughs. So it really is definitely worth trying out. So if you haven't heard about this game, or if you haven't played it, like, what are you doing? You have to actually play this just to experience it, because you'll have a laugh with it. It is a really fun game, and even having not played it after all these years and going back to play it again, it's still as much fun as I remember. And I can see why it actually sold bucket loads on the PlayStation 1, and why it appealed to so many audiences, and why it still holds up well today. As like I mentioned, it spawned a remake on modern consoles over the last year or two. So that'll tell you how popular this game actually is. Even though it's not a direct sequel to the original Crash games, but that's the thing with these type of franchises, because when they were that popular, they could branch out into other genres and it'd still do really well, and this was living proof of that. So, because even the last game in the Crash series on PS1, Crash Bash, is also another party-based game. Again, it's very different. I've actually done a previous video of that. I'll drop a link down in the description so that you can check that out as well. And again, that there is actually a lot of fun. And the thing is, that kind of spawned a lot of what you see now in party games today, like on modern consoles, because there wasn't too many of those type of games back in the PlayStation days either. So that was one of the first early attempts at those party style games, and it actually done a good job of it. Even though it's not the best Crash game, but it's still a lot of fun, so you definitely should check that out as well. If you're looking for a game or a Crash Bandicoot game to play, especially with your mates, these two are definitely a lot of fun, and they definitely guarantee you a few good laughs for sure. So I highly recommend you check them both out. So I'd love to know your thoughts on this game, and if you played it back in the day, and what do you think of it, and share your stories. I'm sure you have as many laughs as I did playing these type of games. Be sure to share them down in the comments below. So if you have enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like. Also be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to be updated whenever I release future content, and also make sure to share the video, as I am going to be replaying and exploring a lot of these quirky style multiplayer games and classic games, and sharing my thoughts and experiences with everyone. So as always, make sure to keep playing those classic games and enjoying them, and keep those gaming memories alive.
Ooh.